Israel's plan to forcibly transfer Gaza's population to a concentration zone in the south of the Strip is causing alarm at the United Nations. Members of the UN Security Council are rallying against the plan of oppression on the 2 million people living under siege in Gaza. The proposal has already been widely condemned by UN agencies, legal experts, and even former Israeli prime ministers. Krishnan reports from UN headquarters in New York.
Hi, Ambassador. Can you tell us why Slovenia called for this meeting?
At the United Nations, diplomats attend yet another meeting on the worsening humanitarian situation in Gaza.
Because the atrocities continues, because the borders are closed, because the food is not coming in and people are starving, people are dying.
It's not just the months-long Israeli blockade on food, water, and medicine prompting international outcry. It's also a proposal to forcibly transfer Gaza's entire population, more than 2 million people, to the ruins of the southern city of Rafah. The Israeli defense minister describes it as a humanitarian city, but emphasizes Palestinians would not be allowed to leave. This week, several members of the UN Security Council warned Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu not to go there.
The United Kingdom is appalled by the Israeli Defense Minister's comments on forced displacement of Palestinians to Rafah. This would contravene the fundamental principles upon which the UN was founded.
Any unilateral attempts to alter the demographic or territorial status of the Gaza Strip are unacceptable and constitute a clear violation of international law.
UN officials have also condemned the proposal, saying it would amount to a concentration camp.
We continue to stand against any plan that leads to the forced displacement of people or that gives false choices to people of either moving them into a pen or staying behind and being labeled as terrorists. It's not a choice.
For Israelis and Palestinians, control of Gaza is an extremely personal issue. That goes without saying. But what happens there will reverberate around the world. And it's being closely watched here at UN headquarters in New York because of the implications for international law.
Human rights organizations say governments must take a stand.
In the United States, and in fact, all countries must not support such unlawful plans to transfer or deport Palestinians, or they themselves risk being complicit in Israel's international crimes.
In the meantime, as hunger increases, the UN says it could be delivering more food safely if only Israel would allow it. Krishnan, Al Jazeera, the United Nations.
Unni Krishnan is the Global Humanitarian Director at Plan International, and he's joining us live from Sydney. Thank you very much for your time. You've called these Israeli plans to forcibly transfer Palestinians into Rafah inhumane and illegal. How do you evaluate the situation there?
Thank you, Elizabeth. Let's see the bigger context. 17,921 children have been killed in this brutal war, and a total of 58,573 Palestinians have been killed in the last several months. We are also seeing children dying in large numbers slowly every day because of extreme levels of malnutrition. I am in touch with doctors and paramedics as well as relief workers in Gaza, and what we are hearing is an already difficult situation turning desperate. That is, acute malnutrition in that context have actually been, especially for children below the age of 5, which is a very vulnerable group, has actually doubled in the last 11 months. And this is because of the complete siege on Gaza by the Israeli military. So nothing is getting in, no food is getting in, and that is resulting, in addition to the children and others who are being killed in the war because of missiles and bullet wounds, they are also dying every day from extreme levels of malnutrition. This must stop.
And what are your partner organizations there telling you about the kinds of things that they are seeing every day now?
No words can truly capture what is unfolding. We hear one day, this is the worst we have heard. The next day we recognize that levels of cruelty and the suffering has gone to a different level that day. For example, we have heard that mothers have been forced to make some really hard choices because of the extreme low levels of food that is available, because of the blockade that has been put by the Israeli military, because of no food getting in. Mothers are made to choose between which child to feed. That is a really difficult and for a mother to be. So which child to feed? And sometimes when they get limited food, it is not with sufficient nutrition that is needed. So think about the bigger scenario with very less food, extreme levels of malnutrition, injuries they've sustained, and they are sick and they're also traumatized. Now there are plans to forcibly move them into a small location.
And your organization is also one of 160 calling for an immediate end to food distribution by the so-called Gaza Humanitarian Foundation. You actually made that call nearly 3 weeks ago. Tell us how you see what's been happening there, given in the context of what you're telling us about the malnutrition, the starvation, and the siege.
Plan International is a humanitarian organization. We have been working with local organizations, our UN partners, and other humanitarian organizations to provide the much needed relief assistance there. So our local partners continue to run in very limited numbers now. Community kitchens, we are also providing that emotional care and support that children need. But what is available in Gaza is now very limited. So on the top of this, while there is every restriction that has been put for the movement of relief supplies, life-saving medical assistance and humanitarian workers, we have also seen militarized ways of distributing aid. That is, there are points where people are told there will be distribution, but we are seeing increasing number of people being killed, either in these locations or while they are waiting to receive some aid. We've been told that more than 800 people have died in such a short time. There is nothing humanitarian about this. This is a militarized approach, and the militarized approach is not a solution in humanitarian settings, because humanitarian assistance should be bound by the principles of impartiality, that need should define what is needed. It should be absolutely neutral without taking sides with any parties involved in the conflict, and it should also be absolutely independent. Most importantly, appropriate assistance, life-saving assistance must go to people where they need, when they need, and what they need. It should not be decided by the militaries or others.
Unni Krishnan from Plan International, thank you very much for joining us on Al Jazeera. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get the latest news from Al Jazeera.